Good morning, everybody. I'm so excited to be back here on the Mind of Reese podcast. This week was kind of weird. I was like having a little bit of like a loss for what I wanted to talk about this week, and I just found that like everybody online was kind of talking about goal setting and these kinds of things, and I realized that as an artist, when I first started tattooing, I didn't really have many goals in mind. The only one was to basically get better at my art and make more money and do more tattoos and travel the world. And those were my goals. I didn't have any like processes or steps or ways to get there. And I realized that, maybe if I had, now that, I've learned so much in this past year about myself and about my mental health and about my business health. And when I talk about business health, I mean just like the growth in my businesses. And so I just realized that there's a lot that goes there. It's really how beneficial it is to have goals in mind. And I think in previous podcasts, I was talking about getting clear on your goals and your dreams. And that's basically what I mean. But I understand that getting clear is so easy just to say out loud, and actually implementing it into a step-by-step process is something that could probably be more beneficial. So I have a bit of I don't know what to call it. I kind of want to call it like, the other day I was listening to this great podcast, Catherine Zinkina. She's manifestationbabe.com and at manifestationbabe on Instagram. She is amazing. I love her to death. Her woo is really woo-woo spiritual, and sometimes that's a little much for me, but I totally dig that shit, and I'm like, yeah, bring it all to me. So like in my practices or in the things that I like to talk about, I kind of have an intermingling of like the analytical side of it, like the really thinker brain and the really like step-by-step thing, and I really have like the woo-woo side, the spiritual side, the belief in me, the belief in this universe, and the belief in like law of attraction, the law of oneness, and those kinds of things. So that's the way I like to teach in my coaching programs and in my coaching clients, my one-on-ones. That's the way I like to teach my clients. And as far as like, as like I implement that into my tattooing and into my Instagram marketing side to it, it's because I'm trying to help as many people as possible. So this can go well for anybody. You don't have to just be a tattoo artist to do this. I definitely, my forte is tattooing and artistry. I've said that before a million times. But as I grow, I'm starting to realize that I'm identifying myself, and that's actually one of the principles, that I'm identifying myself only as one thing, when really how I feel and how I feel almost boxed in by saying that I'm only an artist is not true. I am not only an artist. I am a motivator. I am an educator, and I am a creator. I am an artist. So I'm so many things, and I love these things. I love them with such a passion, a fiery passion that burns inside of me, that I cannot just do one. And a lot of times, and even in my mentors and my business mentors and stuff, they tell me a lot is, Reese, focus on one thing. And then I have other people whom I speak with, whom I look up to highly, that tell me, Reese, do whatever the fuck you want. And so I just follow my heart. And so that's what I advise you guys. And then I challenge you to follow your heart and don't allow anybody or anything to tell you what to do. And so let's get into the principles. I think I have about 11 principles, but I'll go through them quickly so you don't have to feel like the need to, oh my gosh, this podcast is super fucking long. But I'm telling you that with the start of a new year, this 2020 year, why not start it fucking right? So this, I felt inspired to basically give you kind of like how I do my processes and how I have decided that what I need in order for my goals to be attained and achieved is that I have to believe in these principles. And now these principles are not just goals like, hey, do this, hey, do that. They are prefacing this because I want you to understand that this is good for your mind and for your business. If you implement them into both and align the two together, you will fly. You will go anywhere you want to go, but they have to be aligned. And I've realized that because I've been, again, if you've listened to my other podcasts, go listen to them. the Mind of Reese. If you've listened to them, I will always say that on paper, I'm successful. People look at me, they see successful. Okay, that's good. But to me, I didn't feel successful, not until I aligned what was inside of me, my mind, and my business. So like my spirituality and my business. And I don't want to say I hate the word spirituality. I don't want people thinking like I'm not religious. I just have high beliefs that there is energy in this universe, that we can create to basically have, like, we can create this energy of abundance and of life and of happiness and optimism. That it's not just something that just comes up naturally. I mean, it can naturally be happy and upbeat, but don't get me wrong, I get sad, I get upset, I get stressed out, I get anxiety, I do all those things, but at the end of the day, I always have the habitual reversal to go back to optimism, no matter what. And because I am optimistic as fuck, you know what I mean? And that's just an innate thing inside of me. And that can be taught, and that can be honed, and it can be habit. And that is what I want to bring to you guys today. So I have my notes here. This is the end of 2019. So this is so I have a few calendars. And I actually, if you follow me, I recommend getting yourself something that you can actually write something down in. This is actually a mindfulness calendar. It's a spiritual calendar, and it's funny because in the beginning it has like some stuff that were like basically law of attraction stuff where you can do like gratitude journals, things like that, and you have space for all of that stuff. So for me, I loved this journal so much because not only it held me accountable for the stuff I wanted to get done on my daily, the stuff I wanted to get done for weekly, the stuff that I needed to get done in order to meet my 90-day goals, because I do implement all these goals into my life, but not only to hold me accountable for my mindset, for making sure that I'm writing in my gratitude journal, making sure I'm saying my affirmations, making sure I'm visualizing what I wanted for my future, what I wanted for the outcome of the day. So I recommend this. If you're watching this via my video podcast on YouTube, I have my old one and my new one. I love this color. It's the color I see when I meditate, especially when I'm really, really in the moment. So this is the color that goes into everything, including my tattoos. So I love you, all of my fans and my clients, for always allowing me to create what I want to create, because what I'm putting inside of you is something that's coming out of me. And so it's like, it's such a kismet thing, tattooing, and it's such a beautiful, intimate thing to do for someone, is to just basically put a part of my soul onto your skin, and you get to have that and wear with you everywhere you go. And that also elates me because, gosh, I mean, what an honor that is. So enough about that. Let's get into these principles. So the first one would be to reflect, forgive, and let go. So what I mean by this is, as far as like your goal settings or just in life, since as we enter into 2020, what I recommend is that you look back at 2019. You list down all your wins. List them down. Make sure you understand that you fucking killed it. Not only that, but you're still here to remember it. So we as human beings, we're definitely conditioned to always see the things that we don't have. And the problem with that is seeing that what we don't have is constantly keeping our energy on the things that we don't have. So if I don't have, the money to buy this car, if I don't have the new machine, if I don't travel to this, if I don't do that, if I don't have this, I don't have that, all I'm focusing on is the negative side of it, when there is so much to be grateful for. So the thing is that I reflect on my 2019, I list out all my wins. And then if you want to even dive in a little deeper into the business side of it, I actually yesterday did all of my numbers and from last year, from 2018 to 2019, to see like where my numbers went, especially in my income and into my tattooing, new clientele, that kind of thing. I'm very analytical and I'm very numbers person. Obviously, you guys know this. I used to be an accountant. So I always like to see the numbers, because numbers never lie. And that will show me my growth, as well as in my business on paper growth. Now, I also believe in spiritual mind growth. So in order for those things to coincide, we have to make sure we do both. So James Wedmore, my really, really great mentor, he always says, know thy numbers, and that is the truth. But we're not going to get into the business side of this too much. We're going to kind of stick with the spiritual side of it. So reflect on your year. Reflection on all your wins, personal, business, whatever it is. And I even, and I did this with my kids the other day. The people that work for me, my other tattooers in my shop, I had them do this and they were not very happy. They're like, why are we doing fucking homework, Reese? Like, la, la, la. And I'm like, listen, like, I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm 10 years older than you. If someone would have told me to do this at your age, I would have been like, what the fuck? But at the same time, if I would have done it, I would have grown so much faster. So much faster. My business would have soared so much sooner than it's doing today. But you know what? We are all on the right path. And I say that with loving kindness and just elation because I love my journey. I love everything about my journey. I don't need it to go any faster or slower. The universe had it go this way because it's perfect for me. And now as an educator and a mentor myself and as a coach, and I am helping others get to their goals because of my experiences. And that is why I was chosen to have it the way my unique journey is, so that I could share this with all of you at the end of the day. And so that you can achieve your hopes and dreams faster and help more people out there and impact more lives with your art, with whatever you want to do. It doesn't have to just be art. So with anything. So I had them reflect on their wins and what they considered losses and what did they learn from both. And it's so funny because I was like, we got into the business side of it. Like, my apprentice Jackie, she's like, I jumped into being a tattoo apprentice and that's just that kind of thing. And that's wonderful and all. And, and then it's also like, my other boy, Colin, he was like, I feel like I've put myself out there more. And I'm like, I really love that. Those are wins. And even though it might not even seem like that's a financial win, it's a win because you know what? You stepped out of your comfort zone. And anytime you do that, like I always say, I'm like a broken record. You step out of your comfort zone, you find bliss. You find that aha moment, that epiphany of like, fuck, I just learned something new. And you know what? When you do that, you never can go back because you are aware now. You have that knowledge now to move forward into the person that you are so excited to be. And so I say reflect on your year. And this is for your goal. This is like starting 2020. Let's start this. Let's start. It's today. It's the first. It will be the first. I'm actually recording this the day before New Year, but I will be releasing this on the first. So it's the first, and you just get it started right. So first, reflect, forgive, and let go. So when you reflect on things, and especially the things that maybe like in your personal life, like someone did you dirty, or really gnarly breakup. Trust me, earlier this year, I was involved in a really, really, really toxic relationship. And that's very personal. And I actually don't even get that personal, but I figure it is my obligation kind of to share this with you, to kind of humanize myself up a bit. And in my things that I feel like I failed in was in that, because as a person that doesn't like to quit, there was opportunities there oftentimes, and the signs were there for me to just be like, I need to let this go. But I didn't because of either fear, and I know that there was some fear of being alone, fear of just having to deal with it, or having to deal with more yelling or more verbal abuse or whatever, and just it was such a toxic situation that I have never felt like I was put in a corner before. And the funny thing is about that is that I have to realize that not only do I have to forgive him and the situation, I have to forgive myself, because my heart has been hardened through the situation. Not only have I'm a very confident human being, but you guys have to realize I am human as well. And when you're put into a situation where you don't even realize that you're being, both sides of it are being manipulated. I'm not even going to say that I'm the victim here, but both sides of it are being manipulated, and where it's a relationship based on fear and based on control, as opposed to based on love and based on, just no condition, no expectation. You don't realize that in the moment. And so that to me was like a failure to me. I felt like I failed. I failed myself. I failed that relationship. You know what I mean? And so I felt like I failed myself the most because I wasn't very proud of the things that I had done. And so with that, not only do I reflect on it, I see that as a fail, but at the same time, I also see it as a learning experience. And that's where we have to get to. We have to look at it as a learning experience, because no matter what it is, like, and I have to let it go. Because not only that, I do still have that residual feeling. For me to even think that it's a failure, I still have a residual feeling that is a telling sign. For me to think it's a failure is a telling sign that it still has hardened my heart, and that I have a bit of a trust issue that I need to work through in myself in order to completely let go and to completely forgive. And so in order for me to let go and forgive, I have to believe it, and I have to do it for me, because I know that at the end of the day, if I live with this toxicity, if I live with this feeling of like I did something wrong, or the feeling of just jadedness, and then I take that on to other relationships or other people, especially friendships or family members or other boyfriends, like other romantic relationships. It's not going to help me, and it's not going to help them. And not only that, it's not allowing my authentic self to shine through, because I have garbage blocking it. So, and that's just one example. Forgiveness can go so many ways. It could just be, it's something so small. It could be like yesterday, someone just was rude to you at the coffee shop. They didn't say excuse me when they bumped into you, and that kind of like messed with your mind a bit. And you're like, bitch, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you truly forgive, let go, reflect, forgive, and let go. It's the first principle I'd say to start off your 2020 right, and to let go of 2019. But reflect and realize like how good it was as well. Okay, so let's keep moving. I wrote down grateful. Principle number two would be grateful for life. There are no fucking guarantees, guys. There's no guarantees that we're gonna wake up tomorrow morning. There's none. There is zero guarantee that I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. So every morning I wake up, I'm grateful. And not only that, I take this journal. Okay, let me tell you something about a journal, a grateful journal. The best thing about it, and so what's funny is that when was the last time that this happened? Oh my gosh. The last time I, longhand, with my hands, wrote anything down, I think was, consistently anyway, was probably in college. Yeah, wrote anything down, like actual words writing down. I'm not talking about drawing. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about writing. And so this year has been such a crazy transformative year for me that I bought millions of journals. I have them. If you're watching my video podcast, I'm holding them all up. So I have all of these journals that hold all of my different things that I like to write down during the day, because you guys, it has been scientifically proven that 40% of that everything that you write down, 40% of that information you retain. So actually, I think that's actually wrong. I think it's 90%. I have it written down here in my notes somewhere. But it's insane. Let's see. Okay, it says you remember 10% of what you hear, 30% of what you write down, and 90% of what you teach. So me being a coaching person, and that's right now, me speaking this out loud to you is helping me learn. So thank you. So you are helping me learn more, because I get to talk about it, and I get to do this podcast every week, and I get to reflect, and I get to do these things. So 30% of what you write down, sorry, I was wrong. 30% of what you write down, you remember. So the reason why I love gratitude journals, and not only that, because you can also reflect. So when I'm having a bad day, I go back and I look at everything I'm grateful for. I write down 5 grateful things every single morning. Every morning. Because you know why? This life isn't a guarantee. There is no guarantee that today won't be my last day, that tomorrow won't be your last day. There is no guarantee. So let's not take it for granted. Let's look up. People, we need to look up more, because a lot of times we're looking down. We're looking down at our phones. We're looking down at our screens and everything like that. We need to look up. We need to realize the beauty of this fucking earth. Take care of her, of course. And just be grateful. Like, it doesn't even have to be something so extravagant and crazy. It could just be, I am grateful for shit. I listened to a podcast this morning. I'm grateful for Catherine Zinkina and her Manifestation Babe podcast, because it taught me something so wonderful this morning. It could be that, just something so small. It could be, I am grateful for my cat. Keeps me warm at night, and he loves me unconditionally, like, I am grateful for my family. And there are times when I know that I wake up upset because of something that had happened prior. I'll always say, I am grateful for that lesson that I learned, because the moment that I put that positive energy into it, the more that I can see through what I'm supposed to be learning, instead of victimizing myself and saying, woe is me. I don't know how to deal with this. That person was a bitch. You know what I mean? Because if you think about it, I had this situation actually come up recently where I had to fire a client, which is something I will talk about in a separate podcast, because I do think it is important to fire your client for your own mental health. So I fired a client because of there was a lot of micromanaging, and there's a lot of disrespectful words coming toward me and toward my assistant. And so, and as much as I wanted to be like, and just write an email that said everything that I had felt in that moment, from them basically disrespecting me in my art, basically telling me, the worst things. It doesn't even matter what it was. It was just, I felt, and my ego was ready for a fucking fight, And so it was one of those things where I was like, I woke up the next day with a little bit of anxiety from that situation, because after I wrote this email so nice and so sweet, just basically saying that I'm not the artist for you. I just think that you're going to have to find someone that really makes, your heart sing in the way that, you don't feel like you have to micromanage their work. And as nice as my email was of letting them go, they came back with an even more hateful email that I was just like, I refused to even read the whole thing, because it was not worth my energy and time. Because I knew at the end of the day that no matter what, if this situation isn't going to bug me, if this situation is not going to matter in 6 months, it should not matter right now. And so, so even the grateful things is even being grateful for, even if you're not grateful yet for it, be grateful for the lesson being learned for something that maybe negative or not so positive had happened. And so for me, I said I was grateful because, the way I think about it, and this is just me coaching myself into a more positive life and a more positive and neutral, very like neutral perspective, is that I was like, okay, their story of what they see of what's happening and how the situation is going is completely different from what I see on my side of the street. So I see them as being all of these things. They see me as being all of these things, and neither of us are wrong. I don't care how many sides of the story they want to tell or how many sides of the story I want to tell. In our own worlds, none of us are wrong. And so I can forgive that, because at the end of the day, and there's the reflect, forgive, let go, and I can let go of that and then be grateful for it in turn, because I learned something very wonderful, is that this was the first time I ever let someone go. And you know what? And then there's the turnaround. I let someone go for my mental health because I make sure that I come first. And that is a lesson that I had to learn several times this year, because not only did I have to do it there, I had to do it with a toxic relationship that I should have let go long before, and I didn't. But in this situation, usually what I would normally do is keep going, take the beating, the verbal beating, and try to make them happy and just try my best. And usually it works out, even to the stress of me and even to the stress of the fact that I have to keep seeing them for hours and hours on end. After that, because it was such a huge, large piece, a large tattoo that I created for them. I realized it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the money, and it wasn't worth my sanity. And you know what? All of a sudden, that reflection and that moment of gratitude towards that lesson learned the universe had given me made me realize that I was finally ready to let go of my even past thing, even further back, that relationship, that toxic relationship, because I could now forgive myself. And now I have learned to love me more and to realize that I come first and that I deserve happiness. And this is the way to that. Like, these are goal setting things, but this is also a way to happiness and abundance. Like, this is the mindset you want to be in order to achieve those goals, in order to achieve positivity, in order to achieve happiness. These are the principles you want to follow. So that's number 2, be grateful for life. Number 3, normalize your success. Normalize it. Success, your success is inevitable. My success is inevitable. Normalize it. Don't look at other people and be like, oh, wow, they have all these great things and I'm not going to be able to get that. Or don't think it's not attainable. It is. The moment that you believe that it is attainable, your success is inevitable, is the moment that you will start to see differently. It's like, you don't need to compare me. Like, some people will look at me and be like, I want to be like her. But it goes 2 ways. I look at others and I'm like, dang, I want to be like that. You know what I mean? And so the funny thing is that, like, surround yourself with the people that make you motivated. Surround yourself with people, your vibe is your tribe. And I've discussed this with you before, is that, like, and that's another thing. It's like, if a client doesn't vibe with me, they are not a part of my tribe. Every single client I have is a part of my tribe, because we are somehow connected in one way or another, in one belief or another, in whatever standpoint, and whatever we feel, there is some sort of heart connection that makes us want to be around this person. Because don't get it twisted, guys. Like, I'm a talented artist, but there are a bajillion talented artists out there. But I am unique in the way that I do things. I am unique in the way that I say things. I am unique in my own energy. And so are you. And so people come to me because of my authentic self and because I normalize my success. So, like, I decide that I'm going to be successful no matter what. That is just my fucking belief. I just believe in me no matter what. It does not matter, because I have that positive mindset. I've had number 1 principle, forgive, let go. Reflect, forgive, and let go. My number 2 is being grateful. And like I said, when I said being grateful for not only the greatest things I have, my house, the fact that I have money for rent, I'm also grateful for the fact that I have to learn these fucking lessons that I get every day. I mean, like in my previous podcast for adversity, it's like, if we don't have adversity, how the fuck do we grow? Exactly. So this is, I'm grateful for those experiences, and I'm grateful for that. So it's like, if I normalize my success, if I just keep telling myself that no matter what, I'm successful, I have that optimistic side to life. I already see side as success. I am a success right now. That your words are powerful. It's so crazy. It's just like, you just believe it in your mind. What you believe is what goes on around you. Like, anything in your mind is everything externally outside of you. So if you only see the negative, you're only going to see the negative. Like, I used to say this thing. I used to say this all the time. Oh my gosh, everything happens in 3s. I remember in the beginning of the year, and I was just talking about this to my kids in my Monday morning meeting. My kids, it's my tribe, my business partners, my other tattoo artists that work for me. I was talking about this, and they have been with me. Well, Colin has been with me. He's been tattooing with me since the beginning of the beginning of the year. So he's known me for a long time. He was actually there with me during the toxic relationship. He was there in my growth and my spirituality. He was there for my travels, everything. So he has seen the transformation in me, made me realize this is a win as well. Thank you, Colin, for making me reflect on my win, was that how I handled cancellations. Now, I have always been a hustler, money-driven boss babe. And I I've always been spiritual, but money was always the foreground of my mind. And that's just because of my upbringing. My mother, being Filipina, first generation here, she, did anything in her power to make sure that she could be self-reliable, and always taught me and my brothers to always never rely on a man, especially to me, never rely on a man for money, and to make your own money, and to go to school and get a good desk job. And actually, that's what I did. I did that. I did that, been there, done that. And I don't rely on anybody. I have a beautiful house. I live by myself. I have everything I've ever wanted. More, way more. I never even dreamed of these things sometimes. I'm just like, what in the world is going on? And it just keeps getting better. So because of my mindset though too, guys, it's not just gets better and not like I'm bragging. It gets better because I say it gets better. It gets better because I say it. I believe it. That's the power of the belief. So it's like, that's why I say normalize your success. So if this year you're decided, I'm going to be a tattoo artist, I'm going to get out there, I'm going to fucking do it. If you listen to my last podcast about being a tattoo artist, just fucking do it, and then just fucking do it. Don't talk about it, be about it. So you're being about it, and you're going out there and you're being a tattoo artist. Believe that you will be successful. If you're already a tattoo artist and you want to get better at your art, you want to somehow get better, believe that you are going to get better. Because the moment that you believe it is the moment you'll start seeing things that are like, oh, well, I could do that to get better. Oh, well, I can do that to get better. And then you can implement that into your life and into your routines, and then you can actually physically get better. So you start with the mental of believing you'll get better, and then take inspired action outside of you to get better. Because, manifestation doesn't work in that way, and belief doesn't work in that way. It doesn't just say, believe it on the couch, sitting down, scratching your balls, and doing nothing. It means getting up, doing something about it after you believed it already. So normalize your success. I don't know why scratching your balls just came out of my mouth. Okay. So normalize your success. Believe in your success. Believe in it. Hang around the people that you want to be around that already are at the level that you think. Because at the end of the day, you are just like them. There's no other person out there that that's the law of oneness. I've read a lot about the laws of attraction, laws of abundance, the law of oneness, and there's like so many different laws out there, but some I like, some I don't. So I kind of implement whatever I want to believe that what works for me. But that we are all one. The law of oneness just means that we are all one. We are just all here. We are all the same. There's no difference in what I do or what they do. There's nothing. There's no difference in us. You can do it. I can do it. I can do it. You can do it. Period. So the way we do this is to normalize it, is not only to believe in it, but it's also to surround yourself with like-minded people. When I first started getting into spirituality, and I first started getting to life coaching, and I started getting into, this world of that's so outside of my industry, so outside of my tattoo industry, and how important I started hanging around these people, I was like, whoa. And then how I could bring it back into my industry and somehow help others that I know are in the same boat. Because if I'm talking about it, there is no way that someone else isn't feeling it. Because I don't feel like I'm alone in this. I don't feel like I'm alone in that mental health is a very big deal, and that we all need to focus on it. And that not only that mental health can actually make us more successful in our business, make us more money, get us better clientele, give us more time and freedom to do the things that we want to do instead of having to do the things that we don't want to do. That's what I believe. So, with that being said, it's like normalize it. Surround yourself with people that are like-minded. Follow the people that inspire you. Don't be envious. Just follow them, because if they inspire you, then awesome. You know what I mean? Awesome. Number 4, I know this is turning into a long one, but talking about yourself, the way you talk about yourself. So again, with gratitude journals, what you want to do is for me personally, I do it every morning. Sometimes I do it at night before I go to bed, and just like reflect on the day, is I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for, and I always write them down with my hands. And I always say, I am grateful for ... So I am grateful for 5 things. And then the way I talk to yourself. There's a really good thing that I forget, someone said this. It says the way you talk about yourself is is your circumstances. So, excuse me, if I use the words like I am this, I am that, I automatically just put myself into a category, and that creates your reality. So I have categorized myself as when I decided that I was going to start coaching and that I was going to start educating, in both realms for me coincide, because not only am I educating tattoo artists in their business or artists in their business, but I'm also educating them in their mindset to grow their business as well, because it goes hand in hand. So when I decided that I was going to start doing that, it freaked me out. And people out there have told me, and this is another thing, whatever people say about you is just a story. You don't have to believe it, and you don't have to own it. You could actually remove that hat and fucking throw it in the trash. Because at the end of the day, when people were like, you're a tattoo artist, don't stop doing that. And, it kind of hurt my heart. I was like, first off, I'll never stop because I love tattooing. But at the same time, I have so much more to offer. Why am I going to be put into this box as model and tattoo artist? And that's it. I have so much more to give, and I want to give it. So if I put it in my mind that, I'm only a tattoo artist, then I guess that's all I am. That's all that I'm meant to be. Or we can even dive in deeper, is that we can have this scarcity mindset that money is hard to get, or I have to give away my time for money. You know what I mean? That's how you create bad relationships with money. That's how you create bad relationship with time. That's how you create just a negative aspect in your mind, a belief in your mind that's actually not true. It's do we have to work hard for money? Do we? Do we? I mean, is it actually true? Some people consider working hard totally different things. So, whatever you want to believe is what your circumstances are going to be. So the words are super powerful. You're describing your reality. You're basically, you're perpetuating your reality by the things that you say that I am. I am ugly. I am fat. I can't draw. I can only draw stick figures. When people say stuff like that, you're only gonna draw stick figures, bro. But if you don't believe that, you're I am an artist. You say it, it's like the, I think it was Marie Forleo that had said something like this. She was she's start before you're ready. And this goes to all coaching. James Wedmore says this, Catherine Zakita, oh gosh, so many people. So I'm just one of those things. It's start before you're ready. So believe it before you're ready. Believe that you are already there. Because once you have that belief, then you can become the person that needs to be there. Then you can be that person. So you want to be an amazing artist, but you feel like you're a beginner artist right now. I am an amazing artist. Write that down. Say that to yourself every day. I am an amazing artist. I do not let my circumstances outside of me control me. If you're trying to lose weight, for instance, the reason why a lot of people can't go out there and stick with a program is because their belief systems aren't there. They've realized there's so much into the outcome of it that they don't see themselves at that outcome. They're only I'm not seeing any results right now. Instead, why don't you already see yourself as love and beauty and skinny or perfect in your own way? It's not even about being skinny. Who cares? The word skinny is a nasty word. I don't even like it. It's not about what society projects out onto us that we see as quote unquote beauty. We have to believe that in ourselves first in order to change the beliefs in our mind. So for me, it's when someone, when I actually, and this is funny, this is actually a true story. Now I'm realizing, I actually really believe that I can never grow a butt. I was I run too much. I can't grow a butt. I'm not, it's not in my genetics. blah, 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 blah. And even though there are a bajillion fitness ladies out there that like show the befores and after their big old butts and small little butts, like, you know what I mean? And like, and this is like a funny thing because like, not that I really gave a shit about growing a butt, but it was just something on my mind. And so last year I started finally like, I run a lot. So I know that like the muscle thing is like going to be eaten alive by my cardio action. So I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to stop running, but let me do leg workouts. And so I started doing leg workouts actually for my health of my knees and for my longevity of my run. So it was like there was two things that were driving me. It was like from longevity and health. I'm getting older, so things are starting to wither away, and also because I kind of wanted to see a little badonka-donkey there. You know what I mean? So once I decided that belief was no longer serving me, and then once I decided, I was like, you know what? No, I can grow butt. I have a butt. Okay, and then it took me like a year to grow this little baby thing that I have going on right now. But you know what? I'm so fucking proud of that thing. Okay, so that's what I changed my belief around. It's like when people say I'm not athletic, then you're never gonna be athletic, bro. Like that's your belief about yourself. That's what you believe about yourself. You're gonna perpetuate your reality. You're never gonna be athletic because I'm not athletic. Whatever had scared you in your childhood, whatever. James Warmore comes up with a good story. He was like, I was picked last on kickball. That right there made me feel like I was not athletic because nobody thought I was athletic, and that made me never want to play sports. Isn't that crazy? And it's like, that's crazy, but that shit happens. It happens to all of us. We all get, these beliefs in our minds that it's just crazy to me that like these beliefs that we believe so much, so hard, literally creates our entire reality around us. And how crazy, scary, awesome is that though? Because if I believed in the inevitability of my success, in the inevitability about how I am great right now and I'm about to be great. 2020 is going to be the year so 2019 for me was a very transformative year, but I already feel the electricity and the energy from it exuding from my bones or vibrating from my body, knowing that this year I'm going to impact and help so many people because I decided that it was going to be so. Boom. Like that's what I believe. And that comes from my heart. So you hear the way I say it. I look at myself in the mirror and do these things. And I stand there, Wonder Woman posing like this, And I'm like, I believe in the inevitability of my success. I am aligned with the energy of fucking abundance. And you know what happens when I do those things? Everything I see is positive. Everything I see is abundance. Everything I look at. This microphone, this computer, my phone that I'm shooting this on, my house, my cat, the parking lot outside, where I live, the fact that I have money to pay my rent is all abundance. And all of a sudden, I start seeing everything as being awesome. And then, because I've already created that reality for myself with the words around me, my beliefs inside my brain, and the fact that I have normalized my success. I've already explained this to you that I am success no matter what because I am so positive, because whatever quote unquote failure I might have with a launch or someone not going to my website or the amount of likes that I thought I should have gotten on a post and I didn't get on a post, that is all a success because at the end of the day, what does it do? It teaches me something to help me learn to be the person that I want to be further on. And so that's why I'm saying all of these steps are such crucial steps into making sure that your 2020 is great, to making sure that your fucking life is great. But let's start it off with like a bang, new decade. You know what I mean? Okay, so change your belief that you hold inside your head. Number 5. Feed your mind and feed it often with positive shit. Now, see, I can get into holes. Trust me. I can get into weirdo, like negative holes, especially if I'm not reading. If I'm not reading something that is positive to me, if I'm not on top of my books, if I'm not on top of my podcasts, if I'm not surrounding myself with people, like-minded people that also feed me and my energy, the nourishing positive vibes that I need. Because at the end of the day, it is true when it's like I'm a complete empath. Like, I am an empath all day long. People's energy affects me, and I've learned over time and still learning how to protect my energy. And that is it's a tough thing to do, but I'm learning how to do it. And so, so with that being said, like, it's like when I say feed yourself with positive shit, it's like listening to this podcast. So I already high five you for already listening to something that's awesome and positive and empowering. And I hope that it brings you, inspiration, because that's what we need to do. We need to constantly be filling our cups with inspired shit. You just need some good ass inspired positive shit. You know what I mean? It's what you need. It's what we all need. And so it's like when you're surrounding yourself, and I get it, you guys, like, oh, let's watch the news and stuff. I don't watch the news on purpose. I understand people are going to tell me, like, ignorance is, you're ignorant if you don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. But and this is the best thing I think that, Catherine Sakina says. She goes, I help the world, and I believe this in everybody, in every single person out there, that we help the world in our own unique way. And the way I'm going to change people's lives in my own unique way is the way I do things and the way I express myself in these podcasts, in my artwork, in my classes, in my coaching groups, in my whatever. Like, in everything that I do, it's unique. You're unique. You express yourself in your own unique way. That's why I say that, like, it's one of those things where even if you were doing the same thing as someone else is doing, you're saying it completely different. You're doing it completely different. Your technique is completely different and totally you. Unless you're not aligned with it, and unless you're only copying, or like looking at someone else and literally to a T copying and not making it your own, that's a little different. But if you are complete alignment with your authentic self and with what you're doing, with what you feel like is your purpose in life, that shit is going to resonate with the right people. No matter what. It does not matter. You are going to resonate with the right people. So definitely feed your mind, feed your life with positive shit. Surround yourself with positivity. I mean, I know everybody sometimes likes the news, but let's like be mindful of the fact that, like, if I watch that, what can I do from here? How do I change the world? I change the world by changing myself. You know what I mean? And there's so many different people out there. Like, I have friends, they're very, 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 likes to be devil's advocate style people, and definitely like to push buttons and kind of go in the different route of maybe not negative, but just definitely very abrasive conversation. And which I don't mind that. Actually, I think it's very beneficial to me because I take things personal. And I think that there are times where I need to look at it from a perspective of, like, I'm not going to take this personal. I need to learn from this. And that's where I think that, like the news and stuff are very beneficial in a learning experience. Especially if you're an empath like me, I take that kind of energy on and it kind of affects me in my day. So I don't do it. You do you, I do me. That's the best part about being authentic. Number 6, I would say your number 6 principle should be spending 5 minutes visualizing before and after bed. This one's a hard one. This one's hard for me to even remember to do. Sometimes I have to keep an alarm on it for me. But I always like to make sure that I'm writing down my visualizations, especially my long-term goals. So for me in 2020, I am launching a few things, and I'm trying to open up a tattoo shop in a city that doesn't allow tattoo shops. Now, I want those things to happen in 2020. I have visualized it like a gnarly person. I literally can smell the product in my receptionist's hair at my new tattoo shop, because I just know that by visualizing it so hard, it's already real to me. And that by me realizing that it's already real right now, I am that person right now to make it real. But if I believe and I don't see it, and I'm not clear on my goal, again, if I'm not clear on it and I don't see that, like, I don't see the outcome, and I'm not becoming the person that this particular goal needs me to be, then I'm not going to get there until I see that. So the funny thing is that we're always the kind of people that we want to, we want to receive something first before we give out, or we want to see the proof in the pudding. You know what I mean? That we want the pudding first. But I jump without a net. Like, I'm the kind of person that's like, go, and a net will appear, kind of thing. And so I just see the success. I see what I'm going to do. I write it down. I'm very, very specific. I'm not specific in time because I have to make sure that I let go of the outcome. But because I don't want any expectation either. Because holding an expectation puts pressure onto it, and then having that pressure puts you in a lack mindset because you're like, well, what if I don't make it? Well, what if I don't do this? And then all of a sudden your energy is actually flipped, and you actually kind of fuck your goal up because all of a sudden you're thinking, oh, well, I mean, if I don't make it, like, I'm a failure, this and that. No, you're not. Don't put energy into that shit. It's okay. Set the goal. If it doesn't happen, no worries. You learned a lot from it. Let's do it again, or let's try something different. The problem, the fact is that you made moves. You made physical, actionable moves. That's the point of goals. You have to move. You have to do something. That's the only way. So like the visualization just helps you tap into that energy in your mind to make sure that you're going in the direction and you're seeing. So like when you start believing, you start talking about it out loud, you start just saying it out loud. Like, who cares if you actually, are a shop owner yet? I am a tattoo shop owner. I am a shop owner. I have 6 people under me. I do not. That's not actually true. It will be. I have 6 people under me. I have a blue-haired receptionist. For some reason, she's blue-haired in my visualization. My shop is fairly large because I want to educate as well. I want to throw seminars in there. So that's why it's big. It's in Carlsbad. It's in the village of Carlsbad, California, which I have yet to change the laws yet, but it's going to happen. You know why? Because I believe it will. And I have the wherewithal and the patience to make sure it does. It's going to happen. I don't even want to hear about it. Don't even talk to me. It's done. It's already done. In my mind, it's already done. So I believe in it so much that I am already the person I need to be in order to achieve it. So I have already taken so many actionable steps, and I'm still taking, and I'm still trying to be patient. Trying is a very good word. It's a very good word because I'm not going to say I have honed patience in the last year, and I'm actually a pretty patient person. So, I would say that I'm not, but if anybody were to ask, they were like, yeah, you're really patient. So I'm like, okay, thank you. I'll take that as a win. Okay, so for the next one, letting go of envy and jealousy. Don't look around you and start being like, oh, that girl's got this, that girl's got that, and I want this and I want that. Okay, so you're putting yourself in a negative energy. Everything that happens in this universe comes from positive energy. The belief of gratitude, the belief of the visualization, what you believe about yourself, what you're actually putting outside in the universe, what words you're using that out of your mouth are all energy-based actions. Everything. Because of the fact that you are, you need to make sure you're constantly putting out good energy out there. I'm not saying that you're going to not have bad days. You're not going to want to talk shit and whatever nonsense. Like, trust me, I do the same thing. I'm a perfectly perfect human. Like, I get it. But at the end of the day, there are so many times that faster and faster I catch myself saying something that won't align, that doesn't align with me. Because my intuition is like, hey, Reese, that wasn't very nice. And after that, I start like praying to the universe, I'm so sorry. A lot of times I start writing it down in my journal and being like, I really just let that ball drop. Yeah. So I'm not saying that I have never not thought or even said things out loud that probably weren't the best things to say, or to align my energy with the right things, or to even align someone else's energy with the right things. So let go of your envy and jealousy. When you look at someone, do not wish like their non-success. Wish for their success. You know why? Because their success is your success. Your success is my success. So the fact that I want to educate, the fact that I'm putting myself out there, the fact that I'm just like doing these things and not even really realizing like how far it's going or whatever. I don't know how it, I don't know if it's working. I don't know if people are loving it. I don't know, but I know it feels good to me, and I feel like something is happening and it's ready and I'm onto something. And that's where I'm like, you know what? I see other people doing it and they're so successful. And I'm like, you know what? The fact that I see that person doing the same thing I'm doing does not mean that they don't need me in the world. It just means, actually, what it means is that I am aligned with success on that scale, because now I'm starting to notice those people. I never fucking noticed any of those people. I want to be a speaker. I mean, in 5 years, I have 5-year goals. I have a 10-year goal that I know that before I end my 30s, I'm going to be a New York Times bestseller. I just believe it. I'm going to write a book. I don't know why. It just, in the last month, I was like, I don't know why, but there's a book brewing inside of my body. What? I'm a fucking tattoo artist. No, I don't identify myself with that. I don't have that belief. You know what I mean? I am more than that. And so that is why I say, when I see all these people doing all these great things and they've already done it, and maybe they're younger than me, like people that are so successful at like 25 as a tattoo artist, they're killing the game, tattooing for 2 years, you know what I mean? And just traveling the world, doing these amazing things, winning 1 million awards, super huge on Instagram. And I'm just like, God damn it. Good for you. You know what I mean? Good for you. And you know, the moment I even feel a twinge, especially if I'm like looking online, like a lot of times it comes up from like Instagram. You're like looking on Instagram and you're like, oh, fuck. You know, especially when you're looking on Instagram, just make sure that if feeling arises like that, right, comment right away. Just be like, dude, you're killing it. Love your work. Love your vibe, blah, blah, blah. Those are the times most when I'm like, okay, I'm going to shut that shit down. I'm going to shut that little egotistical thought up. Because you know what your ego is? Your ego is like a 7-year-old child really just being like, look at me. So you got to be compassionate with your ego. Like, you can't get mad at it. Like, oh shit, I had a shitty thought. All right, well, let me turn that around. Don't get mad at it. That's the worst thing you can do. It's just spirals out of control, and then you know, analysis paralysis. Like for me, I literally can go down the fucking rabbit hole of overthinking and overanalyzing something or a comment or something that someone had said, and just be like, well, did they mean this? Did they mean that? Oh my God, did I say this? Or what did I think? I thought this. Did they see that on my face? That was analysis paralysis is what we call that. So when it happens, when your ego lets up, let it go, write a nice comment. But when you see people having success, all that really means is that you're on the same path, that you're aligned with success too. Okay? Let's see. What is another one? I think where, let's see. Oh, okay. So I'll go over 2 more. There's like 11, but I'm only going to do, I think 9. I think we've gotten to like 9. So, so the next one that I would like to just basically, I think is really important is, I did say this before, is like your belief, you are not what people believe you are. And so, you know, that goes past that point of like, oh, you know, with James Winmore, I didn't get picked first at sports, so I am not athletic. Or another person saying that, well, are you sure you should do that? You know, people are so gnarly about we're worried about the stability of their life right now, but not following their dreams. And I get that. I totally get that. And you know, what's funny is me being a half analytical, half spiritual. Actually, I'm a little more spiritual than analytical these days now. But early on in my 20s, when I made the decision to quit being a tattoo artist, I didn't quit my job full on cold turkey right away. I stayed part-time. I was like, I still need money. You know what I mean? And I still need a backup plan. And I had it in my mind, don't get me wrong. But I also didn't allow people to tell me. So the one thing that held true was that I didn't allow people to tell me that I couldn't do it. Reese, you're only an accountant. I have not picked up a pencil to draw ever in my life. And all of a sudden I'm like, I'm going to be a tattoo artist. Right? Out of nowhere. And I did. And I did it because I believed in it. Belief. Let go. Don't allow other people to tell you who you are. I think that's a big thing because we have family and we have spouses and we have teachers and we have all of these people in our lives that, you know, live in a world of practicality. But once you start living in a world of possibility, you know, you can find the practicality in it. It's not that it's not just some like, oh my God, I'm going to jump off this balcony and fly. I mean, it's kind of what I mean, but it's at the same time, I'm like, I'm also going to think about that if I have, I'm going to know that there's going to be a net somewhere there, and I'm going to have a rope and maybe a ladder or whatever. So I'm trying to say is that, like, don't allow other people to tell you what your story is. Only believe what your story is, and make sure that story is what you really want it to be. So that's number whatever. I don't even remember what number that is anymore. And I would say the last thing I want to talk about, because I know that this podcast is actually my longest podcast. It's almost an hour. But the last thing I want to say to you guys is that for your goal for 2020 is to put yourself out there. That is the last principle I suggest for you. You're unique. You're capable of anything you want to do. Anything you want to do. Especially if you go through these steps and really implement them into your daily life. You have no idea the amount of things I want to see you do. You have zero clue because of the fact that I see so much potential in people, and I see it every day, and I get asked every day, especially in my industry, where people are like, well, I don't feel comfortable in doing it because there are already so many people doing it. Oh my gosh. Who fucking cares? You need to do it. You are, like I said before in my last podcast, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. But in my last podcast, I said that it's like, you are unique. You are absolutely the only person like you out there that can do what you do in your style, in your technique, in everything. I don't give a flying rat's ass what excuse you might want to give me for not doing something. That's on you. And that's unfortunate because you are robbing people of your talent. You are robbing people of the impact of your talent. Don't do that. Don't sell yourself short, and don't sell this fucking world short either. We only have one life to live, right? What did I say? Be grateful for your life, because there is no guarantee of us waking up tomorrow. And if we want to go through, how do you want to be remembered? The person that just thought about it and didn't try? Or do you want to be remembered as the person that went out there, put themselves out there, made themselves feel uncomfortable, got outside their comfort zone, and fucking did something about what they wanted to do in their life, what they felt like their purpose was in their life? That's up to you. So, I mean, I know I have a lot of tough love out there for you guys, and I know, but because I feel like I am talking to all of you, my eyes on your eyes, straight in the eyeballs, and saying that you fucking got it, and you can do it, and you can change your story right now, in this moment. Every minute is a new minute to change your thought process. It doesn't have to be till tomorrow, because we don't guarantee tomorrow. It doesn't have to be next month or next year. I mean, I get it. I wanted this podcast to kind of based on what you're going to do for 2020, how you should start it, because I feel like everybody likes to feel like a renewed vigor. But you know what? It doesn't fucking matter what year, what day of the week it is. It doesn't have to be a Monday to start over. Start over on a fucking Thursday. Like, nobody cares. It's up to you, because nobody's going to push you to do it. You're going to have to push yourself. Okay, you got to put skin in the game here. So in order for this to work, and in order for you to make sure that this becomes more of a habit and not just a fleeting idea or what a cool concept. It's not just a concept here, guys. This is literally the choice between your happiness in your life, your happiness in your business, the amount of money you make, the amount of time you have with your family, the amount of freedom you get, the amount of traveling you get to do, the love of your life, wherever that person is. This can help you in that. Okay, so with that being said, you guys, I hope you had a most magnificent 2020. Magnificent New Year's. And I hope you guys all got home safe. I wish you all the love, all the positivity. Go kick some ass. If you guys like this podcast, please, please, please take a screenshot, repost it. Share it with your friends. If anybody else needs this, let's do it. If you have any questions or comments, please just give me a holler. I'd love to know everything that you guys have to say. And you can follow me on Instagram, Facebook at The Art of Reese, or you can follow my YouTube. You could just look up my YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music all under The Mind of Reese, because The Mind of Reese is the name of my podcast. The Art of Reese is the name of my business. So you guys, love you so much. Mwah. Have a great rest of your day.